Former diplomats can come out and around this time to really bring their message of peace and tranquility, but also justice and fairness. And so that is what the omnivolence will put themselves into being today. That will be very, very precise for all of us to consider for the week of October 12th through 18th of this year. I'm going to be discussing the astrology going on for the week, breaking down the major aspects and the major configurations in the sky that have their own meaning and their own significance. Beginning with Monday. On Monday, October 13th, Venus changes sign. Now, Venus changes sign every 24 to 25 days. It stays in a sign for about almost a month. And Venus is a personal planet. Venus is shining a spotlight on what truly matters to us in regards to love and the aesthetic around us in our life. What we truly value is representative by Venus. And she's entering one of her home signs. So the focus is on relationships until November 6th when Venus moves into Scorpio, which is a completely different energy. Venus is acting in a way that she does not usually perform in. She's acting in a very, very different type of way when Venus is in Scorpio versus Venus in Libra. So Venus in Libra can be, as I've said, diplomatic. It can be peacemaking. It wants to seek the peace. It wants to seek the injustice. It wants to seek the fairness, the justice, the benevolence of all the kind of thing that can come about in your life. There's a need here to not want to fight, not wanting to cause disharmony, not wanting to rock the boat, wanting things to be level-headed and peaceful and serene, all that kind of thing. Um, we want to steer clear of any aggressive behaviors, any mean or negative, putting people down and raising some people up. That goes away because Libra is all about togetherness. It's all about the including of everybody with nobody being left out and respecting the unity in diversity. That can be the Libra and Aquarius overlap. Um, so if you have Sun in Libra and Moon in Aquarius, or the other way around, unity and diversity is probably a really, really huge part of your belief system. So the downside of any Libran energy, especially Venus, is codependency of depending upon the other without asserting your own identity, your own individuality, your own sense of independence and sovereignty. And so this codependence getting so caught up in with the other things and seeing yourself through others' eyes and not being having the separation to validate yourself and all the lessons that we worked on from July 17th, 2023 to January 11th of this year, when the South Node was moving through Libra, or K2 as it's called, moving through Libra. We've really worked a lot on our identities over that 18-month period. Um, and so this is a time when the measures of fate are in the justice system, when the great pillars of life can turn themselves upside down in a dig spot. So it's very, very important to understand the positive side and the benefit of conflict. Conflict is there so you can talk out the issues, you can fight it out in order to develop true peace and harmony, in order to actually be closer to the other person rather than distant. And I think not choosing to talk about what is going on, um, what's truly going on, being honest with the other person, not doing that is actually being kind of disrespectful to the other person because it's saying, you can't handle the honesty, so I'm going to give you lip service and I'm going to tell you all the things that you want to hear and I'm going to keep the peace and do all of that. When actually being honest shows that you respect that person for wanting you to be honest, for really knowing that person, for you to open up and develop a much deeper relationship with them through that, talking out the issues rather than keeping them bottled up. So that is, uh, what I just want to throw in there. Um, so you want your environment has to be balanced at this time. And as a Libra moon person, emotionally things have to be in balance. I mean, like everybody has to get an equal portion of pork chops at the dinner table. An equal portion, like things have to be in balance with this. And balance is not just this, it's this. Things are moving, yet they're not too far apart from each other. This is imbalance, that is imbalance, but this is balance. If you can see my hands doing that. Venus in Libra wants to develop harmony and fairness, including everybody, being fair to everybody. Um, Big issues that could come out at this time is beauty and relationships, to just generalize it here. And we seek togetherness. We don't want to separate ourselves from others. We want to include ourselves. We want that harmony. We want that bond. Aesthetics in our environment become very, very important for us. Um, Now willpower, forcing your way into things, the masculine, the troops on the ground, let's go, sort of mindset is sort of getting sacrificed at this time. Because what can happen is our lack of willpower, because we're so focused on peace and harmony that we're not asserting our willpower. And that can be positive, that can be negative, but we do want to balance the areas only where energy is out. So making space for love, holding space for love is very, very important now. Speaking up, being assertive about what you need, what you desire, also very important. What is a huge benefit to you will be you putting yourself first. That is one of the action steps for the month of October, is put yourself first. Value yourself, respect yourself. And it's so funny because I've been thinking a lot about my least favorite teacher in fifth grade. She was not strict at all, yet she was incredibly, incredibly firm, and she yelled a lot. I felt very insecure and very walking on eggshells, and I don't know if she's an Aries or a Sagittarius. I'm not exactly sure, one or the other. But anyway, her only rule was self-respect. That was her only one rule that I remember. And this was back towards the end of 2014 into 2015, when I was in fifth grade. Um, and so valuing yourself, um, really doing things that, really matter to yourself. Um, and so you also want to make your relationships top priority as well. So both and here. Um, so you want to reach out to others, you want to connect to others, you want to form connections and not stay so isolated, so alone, so separate, so detached. So that's one thing going on. Now, the aspects that Venus is going to make begins on October 13th. Venus immediately has contact with Neptune, traveling retrograde at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, keep in mind that on the 22nd of the month, Neptune will move back into Pisces at 29 degrees, where it will remain until January 2026. So, Venus opposite Neptune, the love planets, Venus, the lower octave of love, Neptune, the higher octave of love. I actually am creating oracle decks to eventually be published sometime in my life. And one of the cards in one of those decks, the Spirituality All-in-One Oracle, is a higher octave of Venus. And that card is really about unconditional love, unconditional compassion for all beings, divine love, oneness of all that is. So that's, because Neptune is a higher octave of Venus. So that's where that name comes into play here. So Venus opposite Neptune. Um, you're not seeing people objectively. You're not seeing them for who they really are. You have rose-colored glasses on. You have a very skewed lens at the world and not seeing things objectively. Um, you know, thinking that people are more generous than they actually are. Um, over idealizing of people. You know, putting people on pedestals, doing that, and not really seeing them for who they are. Martyrdom could come into play here as well. Um, escapism. Escapism when it comes to um, just the various aspects of life that comes into play here. And there's two ways of going about escapism. One is the unhealthy route, one is the healthy route. And with the healthy route, you know when to come back into reality. So is it painting? Is it dancing? Is it reading a fiction book? Is it watching a movie? Is it playing a video game? Whatever helps you escape, but also come back to reality as well. But whatever helps you escape to to another reality is really advised here. Um, so it's very important to be in the dream state, being the imaginative state, being the escapist state, while also being grounded in reality. This is very, very important. So you also want to consider doing what brings peace to your soul, what makes your heart sing. Um, is it meditating? Is it being outside in nature? Is it listening to beautiful music? Is it composing music? Whatever brings nourishment to your soul is advised for you to act upon that at this time. Journaling can always be helpful, but especially now when we journal out our feelings to really gain some clarity on what we're really feeling, what's going on emotionally inside of us. We want to transform relationships into points of self-growth. So that can be very important. Now, on October 14th, Venus is going to make the next aspect to the outer planets, which is a trine to Uranus. Uranus is moving retrograde in Gemini, the very, very beginning of Gemini. It means that is at the very beginning of Libra. So this is an air trine. So there's a need here for sudden change and excitement. If things are humdrum and low down, if things are very stale and very stagnant and very old, you want to shake things up. You want to cause, you want to make waves. You want to cause some healthy chaos and healthy change and healthy disruption, like opening the windows to let fresh air into a dusty and still room. That can be very, very healthy. And so the trine energy highlights all the positive sides of Venus and Uranus. Is this opportunity to change something and bring in more fun into your life, bring in more stimulation, maybe your adrenaline pumping, get your heart palpitating. Um, and so this is an opportunity to form new and up and coming relationships. You want to take risks. Um, Taking risks at this time is very, very important. I'm not going the way that's comfortable, the way that's familiar, doing something different. Um, I'm gonna take chances in love and relationship. Take those opportunities to really look at the greatness of all that is. When you make the first move, when you change something up in your relationships. Buying beauty products, this is a great time to invest in jewelry, beauty products, skincare products, clothes, whatever glams up and makes beautiful in your life. This is good for anything right brain, anything creative, such as dance, music, and art. Yeah, there's a need here for spontaneity, doing things without a plan, without a structure, without a schedule, doing things because it feels right in the moment, changing things, going to see a movie that you just found out that day, going to this restaurant that you want to go to, buying this piece of clothing that you discover that you really wanted all of a sudden. It's in the moment, it's all of a sudden, I want to act, and I don't want to schedule it and wait till later time to act. There's also a need for liberation here, and to do what brings you joy and what excites you, what makes you feel alive in your life. Do not be resistant to change in your relationships. That can come very, very strongly now. So, make those changes. Be bold, be daring, be here and now, be in the present moment, very, very important. And you may be feeling restless, and you may be not wanting to wait to change the status quo. You want to suddenly change the status quo of your life, and that's the hallmark of this energy. Another aspect that Venus is going to make on October 14th is a trine to Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. Now, on this particular day, Venus is trining Pluto on the day that Pluto stations direct. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more further down the road here in this video. But Pluto is stationing direct in Aquarius at 1 degree. So Venus trine Pluto. What this means is this can bring joy and satisfaction to relationships, an intense, deep connection with the person involved. You want to chase after who you're passionate about. Who, who really lights you up, who really makes you feel good, happy in your own skin, and comfortable in your own skin. Um, so it's very important to let relationships that do not serve you in your life to die away. Let these relationships float along by like leaves on a river, um, and discern what relationships are for your highest good and what relationships are not for your highest good. You may feel very artsy at this time, buying jewelry, clothes, beauty products, again with this energy. Um, Money can be a big issue now, so making investments can be very, very important this time. And the investments that you make at this time will speak volumes in your life. So deep relationships can also be really, really huge. That's the essential part of this is I'm forming this deep, close bond with this other person. Now, in relationships, you want to be your sovereign self. You want to be true to yourself, not being a slave. It could be a sex slave, it could be a housework slave, it could be a work slave. Not falling into victimhood or martyrdom. Either one of those. And they can be interlinked, but they can also be opposite. The downside of Pisces is victimhood. The downside of Virgo is martyrdom. So, you want to have compassion for yourself. Because when you have compassion for yourself, you can better have compassion for others. When you first turn that compassion on yourself, then you have that compassion to give. You have that overflowing cup to give that way you can freely give to others. And I strongly disagree with how my fifth grade teacher acted and presented herself. I perceived her as mean and scary, but I do agree with her on self-respect. That's the one thing, the one thing that is admirable and that I do support her on is self-respect. So that's a little sliver that I wanted to mention here because I've been thinking a lot about this and about that experience in my life for the past week or so. So I might as well bring it up in this video. So, um, you know, and where do you need to forgive others in relationships? If they've done something wrong or said something wrong, where does that forgiveness need to overflow? So Pluto is going to go direct at 1 degree of Aquarius on October 14th. This is the very, very first time that Pluto goes direct in Aquarius for our entire lifetime. The last time is around about the year 2044 when Pluto gears up to move in Pisces. Um, and so Pluto in Aquarius is transformation of the technologies in our life. Are they serving us or are they not serving us? Looking at bringing power to the people, power back to the average folk, um, to bring grassroots up, not top down. Um, so that is really the essence of Plutonian energy in Aquarius. Now, another detail to mention here is that the nodes of the moon on July 26th of next year will move back into Aquarius and Leo. And I define that as the North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo, as the rebirth of science, the rebirth of astrology, spirituality, anything scientific related, quantum related, that kind of thing. Anything dealing with Aquarius, it's a rebirth of that when the North Node moves back into Aquarius, because after all, that is the custom in my mind for Aquarius North Node. So, um, that's going to be further emphasized when the North Node moves back into Aquarius about power to the people, and there's going to be a moment when Pluto is going to conjunct the North. That's going to be very, very profound. Pluto is going to make a trine to Uranus, so innovations, new technologies, new revelations will be formed in a sextile to Neptune, which is about really the transformation of letting go of things and merging with divine source energy. Harmony is very, very important to get achieved at this time. Pluto digs deep into things. It wants to get to the bottom of things. Wants to go below the surface. There's pain in the process um, of this. Taking your power back is very, very important, and there's no more ignoring any behavior that is mean or cruel. Addressing it, calling it out, fixing it. So, October 16th, 2 days later, Mars will trine the North Node. So Mars at 17 degrees of Scorpio will trine the North Node at 17 degrees of Pisces. So the North Node's been at the 18th degree of Pisces for a good long while, just like back in March it was at the 27th degree of Pisces for a good long while. And I think it's worth noting that the North Node spends an unequal amount of time in certain degrees as opposed to other degrees. That's very interesting. So, Mars trine North Node. Um, this gives an energy, a motivation, a strong urge to move into the uncharted territory, to move into new realms, to step into the unknown bravely and boldly. You have no power acting independently and following your passions. It's very Mars energy. Um, and so it's very important to learn what you need to and learn what you need to learn in order to help you evolve. That's very, very important, yeah. Integrate lessons and develop your plans in life. Make those plans very strategic and very decisive. Take action towards your long-term goals. What are your long-term goals? Getting clear on that and acting on that. Certain things will be spelled more strongly than others at this time. Opportunities arise that will support you on your soul's path and destiny. So that's that aspect. Now, the next day on October 17th, the sun forms a square to Jupiter. So the sun is what illuminates things, and Jupiter is what expands things. So this brings about goodness, positivity, joy, it brings blessings. Jupiter bestows blessings onto all of us. But when we're blessed too much, we can overdo it. We only have one life, so we might as well splurge and do all of that. So overindulging in food, drink, or whatever it is, overdoing it, whatever it might be, is the downside of this energy. Another downside of this energy is overpromising, making these huge, grandiose plans and promises that you want to act upon in your life and not being able to deliver because you have the high, you're on your high confidence state and you have all this confidence to exude, but when it comes to putting the troops on the ground, let's go, acting it out, embodying it, you can't deliver on it. So you may feel a sense of confidence, but make sure that translates to physical, tangible action. So not overpromising is very, very important. Um, so know when to stop doing something. Know when to say no. Know when to cut yourself off. Know when to moderate yourself. Know when know your limits. Know when there has to be appropriate limits. Um, it's very important to give and be generous, but not to the point of burnout. And so there was a card in an Oracle deck, which is the Lammas Oracle. And one of the cards is to deny your heart's joy is to deny nourishment to your spirit. And I think that that is so prominent here. So do what makes your inner child feel joy. Do what makes your heart sing. And therefore you nourish your spirit. Therefore you care for the beautiful spiritual being that you are having a human experience. So what's also important is again, healthy conflict, talking things out, which can make you closer to that other person. Now, October 18th, the next day. Mercury will trine the North Node. So, Mercury in 27, it's 17 degrees of Scorpio now, trining the North Node, or Rahu, at 17 degrees of Pisces. So this is a water trine. So taking your plans and the intellectual ideas you have and turning them into physical, tangible actions on your path of fulfillment, on your path of destiny in your life, which is the North Node. Certain things in your life may be put to the test, put to the altar, put to the razor, put to the chaser, that kind of thing. Fear and uncertainty will not hold you back at this time. You will not be afraid to go full force into things. One, two, three, and let's go. Um, so this feeling scared and feeling unsure about stuff will not hold you back at this time. So that's one of the gifts at this time. What will you do that will have a positive impact on your future? What can you do in that way that's for your highest good in that way? Rationality and logic are highly important here. It's very, very important. Picking it right here, you can communicate very well. This is another gift that this transit offers is being able to communicate very effectively, very strongly. It's good to get support for your ideas from others, um, for yourself from any limitation or any societal or governmental expectation or restriction that you feel limited by. And communicate your ideas in a way that promotes innovation. How can you do that? Um, so that's something to consider. Now, The sun is going to oppose Chiron at 25 degrees of Aries. So the sun is at 25 degrees of Libra. Chiron is at 25 degrees of Aries. No, Chiron is moving retrograde. So you may feel very, very strong need to defend the ones you love, going to bat for them, going to war for them. I'm defending them, protecting them, caring for them. Any past wound and trauma regarding you being an authentic, individualized person, Chiron and Aries, those wounds, those self wounds will come up at this time. It's very, very important to consider that Chiron spends an unequal amount of time, and sometimes in other signs. In Pisces, an incredibly long time. In Aries, an incredibly long time. Virgo and Libra, it just zips right through those signs. It has a very, very weird orbit. Whereas the sun, for example, is consistent. You can track the patterns more easily. So, any insecurity that you have will be a very, very big issue. Conflicts related to confidence and self-esteem may come up to the surface at this point. So, that's very interesting. You want to face your fears and insecurities head on. You want to embrace your vulnerabilities, not being afraid to be vulnerable, to being a real, tender, unkept part of yourself. Profound growth and transformation are really, really big themes. It's very important to embark on a journey of self-love and self-acceptance. Be gentle with yourself and cultivate self-worth, empowering you to move forward with confidence and authenticity, because self-worth is truly the name of the game. So that is your astrology forecast and energy update for the week of October 12th. Like this video, share this video, do all the things that you can do that YouTube provides for you below the video. Check out this description to get a summary of this video. And I will see you in the next video, which will be on Venus in the zodiac sign of Cancer in your personal natal chart. So that deals a lot with family as a big value. Your roots are very important to you. So, we'll get into that conversation in the next video. But anyway, bye for now, everybody. I'll catch you another time.